Hi and a good day. This is Lecture 6, Mammalian Integument. The vertebrate integument provides an interface between the organism and its environment. The skin, as the primary organ of the integumentary system, constitutes 12 to 15% of the human body weight, with a surface area of 1 to 2 square meters, and is thus the largest organ. Accessory structures associated with the mammalian skin are hair, glands, nails, claws, hooves, plates, and horns. Aside from protection, the mammalian skin and its associated structures function for sensory perception, camouflage, nourishment for the young, maintain constant body temperature, minimize heat loss, dissipate excess body heat, give off chemicals for species identification, for defense, and to advertise reproductive condition. The mammal integument consists of an epidermis that is avascular, has no nervous structures, has a high regenerative capacity, with accessory structures derived from the epidermis and consisting of keratinocytes and melanocytes. The epidermis consists of the uppermost layer, the stratum corneum, consisting of dead cells, stratum lucidum, found in thick skin, stratum granulosum, which initiates keratinization, stratum spinosum, which supports the skin, and stratum basale or stratum germinativum, which produces new cells. Aside from the loose and dense connective tissue, the dermis consists of blood vessels, nerve fibers. The root of the hair is found within the dermis. Secretory cells of skin glands, collagen, reticular, and elastic fibers, Meissner's and Pacinian corpuscles. Several glands associated with the mammalian integument are the sebaceous glands, which secrete oily substances. This may be found in wax glands and meibomian glands, which are found near the eye region. Eccrine glands secrete thin watery fluid, such as most sweat glands, and apocrine glands secrete viscous lipid-containing substances, such as the scent glands and the mammary glands. Lactose or milk sugar is the main carbohydrate in milk. The female mammary glands become active after birth of young. A rarity, male jackfruit bats and masked flying foxes have been reported to produce milk. Although the males produce milk, their mammary glands and nipples were not as large as in the females, and the amount of milk was only about 1/10 of that produced by females. Moreover, males were not observed nursing the young. This is their paper published in 2008 in Trends in Ecology and Evolution, entitled Male Lactation: Why Not, and Is It Care? In their 2009 paper, they corrected that the term lactation, with its suggestion of care, is not yet appropriate. In cross-section, hair consists of an outer layer, the cuticle, made up of cuticular scales. The next layer is the cortex, where pigments such as eumelanins give rise to black and brown hair, while pheomelanins give the red and yellow hair color. The innermost is the medulla, which may be absent. An erector pili muscle is closely associated with hair, giving us the goosebumps when it is cold or when we are scared. Sebaceous glands also provide waterproofing to hair. Based on hair growth, hair may be classified as definitive, meaning the hair will reach a certain length only. Another is angora, wherein the hair grows continuously. The cuticle consists of overlapping scales, directed from root to tip or away from the scalp. So if you try to run your fingers between a strand of hair from root to tip, it will slide smoothly because you are moving it in the same direction of the cuticular scales. If you go towards the opposite direction, you will notice some resistance and a squeaking sound. This is because you're going against the direction of the cuticular scales. The imbricate or flattened cuticular scale type consists of overlapping scales with narrow margins. They are commonly found in human hairs and many animal hairs. Shown here is a normal hair cuticle on the left and on the right damaged hair cuticle, resulting to split ends. The cortex is the main body of the hair composed of elongated and fusiform cells and may contain pigment granules and/or ovoid bodies. The medulla increases protective properties of hair by adding internal air spaces. It occupies about 1/3 of hair's width and may be classified as absent, fragmented, discontinuous, or continuous. The cortex, medulla, and cuticle all influence hair coloring to some degree, but hair color depends mainly on the kind and amount of pigment granules present in the cortex. The coloring of the cortex occurs in the form of melanin pigment granules, already mentioned before. In human hairs, the size and shape of the pigment granules, their distribution and density along the shaft can be useful for determining the racial origin of hair. Melanin granules are formed in the follicle by melanocytes. Shown here on the left is dark hair with discontinuous medulla. In the middle, blonde hair without medulla. And on the right is white hair with a continuous medulla. Skin and hair, fur or pelage coloration in mammals acts as concealment and may be in the form of pattern blending. Spotted species tend to be arboreal and live in closed habitats, whereas striped species are found in grasslands. Others have prominent black side bands and leg markings that could function to break up the body's outline, termed disruptive coloration. Counter shading is widespread in mammals, wherein the dorsal side is dark while its ventral side is light. This shading helps an animal blend in with the surroundings. Patches of color rather than overall coloration may also be used to communicate to conspecifics. Intraspecific signals may help animals maintain visual contact, as between mothers and young, may function as social releasers or signals of subordination or devices to intimidate rivals, warning to conspecifics that predators are close, or may signal reproductive condition, dominance, health, or even genetic quality to potential mates. Interspecific signaling may include aposematism, in which prey advertise their noxiousness. Another hypothesis for coloration in mammals are the physiological and physical functions that are involved in regulating body temperature. For example, by reflecting or absorbing radiation, enhancing or reducing evaporation and reducing glare. The white face marking are thought to reduce heat load, while dark eyes counteract glare. Mammalian pelage color may vary according to age. Certain suids, felids, and artiodactyls, and in this perissodactyl, the tapir, for instance, are born with spotted or striped coats that become uniform when the offspring becomes mobile. Other mammals change color seasonally, such as the Arctic fox, to match a white Arctic background in winter and later to match background soil in spring. This may also change due to dominance, as in males from unimale units turning dark blue-black in the greater kudu. Skin color can change rapidly due to hormones and vasodilation, particularly in primates. For example, to advertise fertility and possibly ability to raise offsprings to independence in the female baboons. There are 3 stages of hair growth in the cycle. These are known as the anagen phase or the active growth phase, the catagen phase or the breakdown phase, and the telogen phase or the resting phase. Skin derivatives in mammals include claws, hooves, horns, antlers, plates, and scales. Most mammals with headgear live in social groups rather than alone. They use their headgear as a quick way to recognize their kin. For male mammals, head decor can be an eye-catching way to advertise vigor and desirability to females and strength and dominance to males. One headgear is the horn, found in family Bovidae. A horn is a permanent pointed projection on the head of various animals that consists of a covering of keratin and other proteins surrounding a core of live bone. Another is the pronghorn. The horns adorning the pronghorn are neither true horns nor true antlers. Instead, the sheath is made of keratin, but the horns shed yearly. True horns have only one point, not the prongs or forks that antlers have. Antlers are found in family Cervidae. Antlers are extensions of an animal's skull found in members of the deer family. Antlers are a single structure composed of bone, cartilage, fibrous tissue, skin, nerves, and blood vessels. They are generally found only on males, with the exception of the reindeer and the caribou. Antlers are shed and regrown each year and function primarily as objects of sexual attraction and as weapons in fights between males. Another is the giraffe horn or ossicone, which is present in both sexes and are not projections of the frontal bone. Ossicones are columnar or conical, skin-covered bone structures on the heads of giraffes, male okapi, and some of their extinct relatives. Ossicones are distinguished from the superficially similar structures of horns and antlers by their unique development and a permanent covering of skin and fur. Giraffe ossicones consists of a highly vascularized and innervated bone core covered with vascularized and innervated skin. Rhinoceroses are killed by some poachers for their horns, which are bought and sold on the black market and used by some cultures for ornaments or traditional medicine. The horns are made of keratin, the same type of protein that makes up hair and fingernails. They are unusual among other horns in that they lack a bony horn core. Instead, the horns are anchored to the dermis, covering the frontal and nasal bones, and are associated with pronounced bony rugosities in most individuals. The true horny part of rhinoceros horn is an epidermal derivative consisting of keratinized tubules of cells set in an amorphous keratinized matrix. Both African species and the Sumatran rhinoceros have 2 horns. while the Indian and Javan rhinoceros have a single horn. The pangolin is one of the most trafficked wildlife species in the world. It is hunted for meat and its scales, which are used in traditional Chinese medicine. For your learning activity, submit a one-page report to answer the discussion questions. Be sure to cite your references. So the questions are, what is or are the scientific basis or basis for such practice? Do pangolin scales really have medicinal value? So that's all. You may now proceed with your learning activity. Have a good day.